right, so I want to start Unit 4 today, and hopefully by the end of this, you guys will have a little bit better sense on what a checking account is and how to use it. This is one of those things that I honestly think, I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think checking accounts are going to be around forever, but they are getting used less and less often. When I opened my first checking account, I was 18 and I wrote checks all the time. I didn't like to carry cash, so I wrote checks for basically anything I wanted to buy. The big difference between then and now is so many places accept electronic payment. You can pay with a debit card, or I can pay online. I can pay most of my bills online without ever having to write a check, without ever having to really do much of anything. I just input my account number for my internet provider and I tell my bank how much I want to pay them and they just send the money electronically. But there are certain things that I still pay via check. And the reason I do that, it kind of depends on the situation, but like my water bill, when I pay my water and sewer bill, that is through it's not a big company. I pay it to the village of Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is not a big place, so I write them a check because they don't accept electronic payments like that yet. I pay my daycare provider with a check so I can keep track of it, and I have a record of how much I've spent on daycare because I can write that off on my taxes. So there are advantages to writing checks. Cash is great if you can pay cash for everything, but like I said, I don't think a checking account are ever going to completely go away. So we're going to take this first idea here of making a deposit into your checking account. And it might take us a couple of days to do this because my lesson today, I wanted to focus just on counting money, cash specifically. So if you read this problem, this guy Manuel, he's going to make a deposit into his checking account. Great. He's got 3 different checks for different amounts. And this part right here, his cash, he has some cash that he's going to put into his account. That's what I want to focus on specifically. You need to be able to count cash. Again, that's something I don't think is ever actually going to go away. It gets used less and less often. I don't have cash on me. I never carry cash because I've got my debit card, but I have cash available if I need to pay cash for anything. So what I wanted to specifically focus on today is this sentence right here. How much cash does he have? Now, cash doesn't necessarily mean just bills. Coins are also considered cash. So we need to be able to talk about the value of a coin. And I think that's going to be the tricky part on this. So, I think it's pretty straightforward when I say, 15 $1 bills. Oh, that's $15. Or 7 $5 bills. You guys learned how to count by fives sometime in grade school. So you could count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And you could count by tens to get the 3 $10 bills. So that's not specifically my concern. What I'm worried about is the coins because I think counting change is kind of a lost skill. So he's got his 15 ones. Great. That's easy. He's got $15. He's got 7 fives. That's great. That's another $35. He's got 3 tens. That's great. That's another $30. Okay, we'll worry about that later. The coins. What you need to think about is if you bought something that was $1.25, if it was $1.25, $1.25, right? If you were paying cash for that, you could give them a $1 bill and a quarter and be done with it. So what I need to talk about is that decimal portion of this, 0.25. A quarter is worth 25 cents. Well, we need to be able to write that as a decimal. So 0.25. He's got 24 of those. Okay, I'm going to exaggerate my decimal points on these a little bit because I want you to be able to see them because they're pretty important. 5 dimes. So ask yourself, what is a dime worth? Again, exaggerating my decimal point, 0.10. 15 nickels. Right, 15 nickels. What's a nickel worth? Now, this is where most people will make a mistake. It is 5 cents, but that does not translate to 0.5. Right? 0.5 would be half. That's a half dollar. A nickel is worth $0.05, 5 cents. When you're talking money, dollars and cents, you've got to think 2 decimal places on all of these. So 5 cents would be on the far right of that. And then 14 pennies. So kind of the same conversation here. What's a penny worth? Well, it's worth 1 cent, but I can't put that as 0.1. That's a dime, 10 cents. So it's going to be 0.01. Now, if I were you, I would grab a calculator and you can type that straight in, right? Every penny, every dollar, every 5, every 10, it's all right there. 15 ones, 7 fives, 3 tens, 24 quarters, 5 dimes, 15 nickels, 14 pennies. Straight in, left to right on your calculator. After you've multiplied all this out and added everything together, he has a total deposit, just cash, right? So not a deposit. He has a total of $87.39. That's your assignment tonight. I'm going to give you 2 or 3, maybe 2 or 3 problems where you have to figure out a cash total based on how many different bills you have. How many different bills, how many different coins.